Hello and welcome back to Fallout London, where today we're going to be taking a look at every single shotgun in Fallout London. First up, we're going to be taking a look at the Crude revolver. We've already looked at this as a pistol, shotgun, rifle. It's kind of a combination weapon and it fits in all those roles fairly well. This is a single action revolver. It is a pipe weapon. It's a more improved pipe weapon than what we got in Fallout 4. Holds 4 rounds in it and it does okay at very close range. Ordinarily, this is a pistol, but you can build it up into a rifle if you would like, or into a full-size shotgun, I should say. And it actually works decently well. It's not an amazing weapon, but since you can get this one so early on and it doesn't take very many levels of gun nut to actually build this up, it is a reasonable shotgun for early game if you would like to go with it. Where it does decent damage, it has decent range. Its recoil isn't that bad. The rate of fire is fairly slow, but that's okay. 4 shots is usually enough to deal with most enemies, and again, for the early game, it's perfectly fine. For an overall rating for the Crude revolver, I'd give this one a C tier. It's decent enough in the early game, but will probably fall out of favor with other shotguns later on. There's only one way to build this into a shotgun as well, so we're not going to be going over a different build for it. You can either have it as the pistol shotgun if you want to go with gunslinger, or you can have it as the full-size shotgun if you want to go with rifleman. That way you can get your damages that way. You can also throw a suppressor on this to get extra value from Mr. Sandman, but however you'd like to run it, feel free to run it that way. Next up, we've got another modified shotgun, which is actually the flare pistol, which has been modified into a massive shotgun, or at least it takes massive shotgun shells. The flare pistol is actually really unique in Fallout London because it can be converted into so many weapons. Ordinarily, the flare gun kind of sucks. It doesn't really do that much damage. You can shoot and hit something. You do get it early on. It's one of the first guns that you actually get access to. So that's kind of nice. The flares themselves, when they hit enemies, don't really do that much damage, but they will explode, which is kind of useful, but they have a timer on them, so you have to hope that the enemy just kind of sits there and waits for it to explode on them. But you can convert this into a big old single-shot break-action pistol, and it's actually super fun. It's very solid. Weirdly enough, it actually has really good accuracy at range, too, where the spread is actually not that bad. It does good damage. It's better at close range than it is at long range, but long range it can still kind of get away with. You can actually load this with either buckshot or you can load it with slugs if you'd like, and just have this as a single shot slug. It is always going to be a pistol, so if you're going to be going with this and you really want to use it, you will need to go with gunslinger. It's not a bad option either, and it's going to be pretty ammo efficient. Main problem is that it is going to be a single shot weapon no matter how you build this. This can also function basically as a grenade launcher too, which is really cool. Flare gun as a shotgun, I'd honestly give it a B tier. I think it's pretty decent. Up next is actually the Crude rifle, which can be turned into the Crude shotgun. This one is a little bit of a weird one. So this is a bolt-action rifle that reuses animations from the bolt-action pipe rifle in Fallout 4, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It has been changed quite a bit and it looks way better than that gun. As well as this one can come in a whole variety of different mods that you can actually put on it. It can actually come in 2 different varieties of shotgun. Not actually in the ammos like we just talked about with the flare gun where you can have buckshot or slugs. This one is always going to be buckshot, but it can come in a 3-shot variant or a 4-shot variant. I'd recommend just going to the 4-shot so you get another shot out of it. This is bolt action and it is fairly slow in between those shots, as well as some of the mods don't really help you with this because you can put a lot of scopes on this and scopes just aren't really the best with the shotgun. This is a fairly accurate shotgun and it does good damage, but it is slow on its rate of fire and it's also very heavy by itself. Even more so if you really want to trick this thing out by putting like the really long barrel on it. You could put a suppressor on this. This can function as basically any kind of class of weapon where it can be a rifle, a shotgun, a pistol, and it's gonna be kind of awkward in any of them. So yeah, this one is just not really one of my favorites, but I don't think it's terrible either, and you could potentially find one of these fairly early on that's already converted to shotgun shells, so you can start loading it up with that. This one I would also say is like a C tier weapon. It's okay for the most part, but later on you're probably not going to be bothered to pick these up. Next up is our double barrel, which is exactly the same as it is in Fallout 4. This is one of the few weapons that was actually ported directly over from Fallout 4 into Fallout London, which I can understand them doing because the double barrel does look perfectly fine, although a little bit chunky in Fallout 4. Other than that, it's really hard to screw up a double barrel, and Bethesda did not actually screw up a double barrel, so good job there, I guess, Bethesda on this one in particular. This works just the same way that you would expect it to in Fallout 4. It does decent damage, it has okay range, you get 2 shots before you need to reload, and it doesn't have a whole lot of mods that you can actually put on it. For the regular double barrel shotgun, it would probably go into C tier, just like the regular double barrel in Fallout 4 would, where the limited capacity does kind of hurt it. and the fact that it falls off a little bit compared to the other shotguns hurts it quite a bit too. Once you fully mod this out and you make it a full-size double barrel, you got advanced receiver on it, you got some pretty good damage there. It is fairly accurate. It's got good stopping power. And since Fallout London is more of a slow-paced game to where you can't really have something like the combat shotgun from Fallout 4, where you could have a fully automatic 30-round drum, the double barrel actually stands on its own pretty well. I would still say that even with it all tricked out, it would go B tier because we do have some better shotguns than it, but it is a pretty solid option if you want to go for it. Then we have the other double barrel shotgun, which is a far more heavily modified double barrel. This is called the Fire Lance shotgun, and this has all sorts of things attached to it where it's got like a crowbar underneath it attached as a bayonet so you can stab somebody with it. It's also got some weird shielding at the back too. I don't know why that exactly is, but it looks a whole lot more crude. It does function the same way as the double barrel, and it has the same animations. The regular Fire Lance shotgun really isn't that different from a double barrel. It's just a whole lot more rare to find in London, but still a decent shotgun nonetheless, so it would go into C tier all by itself. Some of its mods is where it gets more interesting, where you have a whole lot more customization. You have more barrels for this, you have more ammunitions that you can actually put into it. If you want to throw Dragon's Breath in this, you can. If you want to throw slugs in it, you can. I actually threw Railway Shot into mine, which is basically the railway rifle spikes that go into this, although it still takes regular shotgun shells. It doesn't actually change the ammo type, weirdly enough. And that one is actually really fun. You can do a lot of damage with it. It seems to pierce really well, sticks into walls and stuff, so that's really awesome. This one I would also probably rate the same way as the double barrel. This one is a whole lot more flexible than the double barrel is, but the double barrel is pretty solid with just buckshot and fully built out. So if you want to use that, go for it. If you want to have something a little bit more exotic, try out this one. It's pretty solid. Then we've got the Bulldog revolver up next. This one's a bit of an interesting one because this one is not the same revolver that we've already talked about with the Crude revolver. This one looks a whole lot better. This one does actually fire from the chamber underneath. It's got a barrel on the bottom cylinder rather than on the top cylinder, which is pretty cool. I do like revolvers that look like that. This one is already chambered in shotgun shells, although you can rechamber this into 50 cal rounds, which is pretty interesting. I think it's this and then the cursed Deaglov, which I still need to take a look at too. I think those are the only two that actually use the 50 cal round, and maybe the Crude rifle can too if it's all the same 50 cal, which it might be. The Bulldog revolver is actually really solid. It's got good damage. It's actually got really long range for just being a shotgun as well, at least in the shotgun mode. And it's got a whole lot of mods that make it better. I don't think the shotgun mode is the best version of it. I think if you swapped it over to the 50 cal rounds, those would actually be a whole lot better. But the shotgun revolver is actually really solid. This one's another one that's a very rare one-off weapon, so you're going to have to get it from a quest. This one is also limited to 4 shots, so you can't get any bigger cylinder than that, but that's usually enough, and it does reload pretty fast, shoots fairly fast. Everything about it is just an all-around pretty solid weapon, so I'd probably put this one as an A-tier weapon. I think it's pretty good. And then our very last shotgun is the combat shotgun in London, and this one is a pump-action rotating cylinder shotgun, which is interesting, as well as you just chuck the whole cylinder out when you go to reload it and slap a new one in. This is 4 shots. This is one of the more common shotguns you're going to find throughout the mid and late game in London. A lot of people have this. Mercenaries have this. Raiders have it. Cannibals have it. You can kill them and take this off of it, as well as there is some unique ones like the one that you're seeing in the footage here. This is the unique one called She Who Dares. It's a really cool shotgun that you get from a really fun mission as well. A 4-shot pump-action shotgun is pretty good indoors, as well as it's pretty good outdoors too. It's actually got really good accuracy, even more so if you put the choke on this. The regular combat shotgun is very solid. So for a regular rating for the combat shotgun, I would probably say that this one's like an A-tier weapon. I think it's pretty solid. A modified version, I would say, is even better because then you can adjust it from 4 shots into 6 shots. You can also load this one with buckshot or slugs. If you put slugs in here and you put the choke on this, this is basically a long-range rifle as well. Although it does have travel time, unlike most of the long-range rifles, so I don't really like it for that job. But if you want a shotgun for long-range, you could absolutely turn this one into it. It's still got a suppressor too if you want to take Mr. Sandman with it to get more damage that way. I usually like the choke because of the extra accuracy and range that this gets. It also just makes so your spread pattern is incredibly small, which is fantastic. Damage is really good with this one once you throw the advanced receiver on it. I also happen to get a really strong one about midway through my first playthrough of Fallout London, which definitely helped me abuse this weapon even more. I got an explosive one, so that's really strong. My other playthrough that you're actually watching now, this one actually had instigating on it, so this one was even stronger than that explosive one in a lot of cases. And yeah, this weapon is really, really good. The sights are really nice for it, especially the improved sights. I really like those. more so with the glow sight that you're seeing here on this. And it just stays a solid weapon all throughout. This is probably my favorite shotgun in that. I would put this one up into S tier. I think it's the best shotgun in Fallout London. Tell me your thoughts on the shotguns in Fallout London. We got actually a decent amount of them, way more than what we got in Fallout 4, which is really cool. Because sadly, aside from like New Vegas, we just don't get shotgun weapons all that much in the Fallout games. I guess Tactics had a decent amount of them too, but it would be cool to have more shotguns or more shotgun type of weapons in the Fallout games because they're always super fun to use. Check out Fallout London if you haven't already. It's on GOG. You can get it for free, assuming that you have Fallout 4, and you should probably get Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition through GOG because it's just way easier to mod Fallout London on there. Anyway, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye!